Hearthstone Mercenaries used to be my favorite game mode that Blizzard has released, and I was always looking forward to play it every single day. Even though it was extremely grindy, I just really liked the game mode. But I haven't touched Hearthstone Mercenaries in a very long time. And the whole reason I want to make this video is not because I want to just drag on why people think that Hearthstone Mercenaries is bad. I want to talk about it so the developers can work on the things that I was worried about and why I stopped playing entirely to hopefully make the game mode better. I also think it's very important that I say how much money and time I've spent into this game. So in terms of money, I bought all the pre-order bundles you could and a couple of bundles here and there, especially when new characters would come out. I've also put an extreme amount of time into this game, and I was a pretty good player when it comes to PvP. Anyways, let's get through this because I want to make sure that this game mode can actually live rather than just slowly suffocate. The first main reason why I stopped playing Hearthstone Mercenaries is because of Valeera, but it's not only because of Valeera, it is actually a problem that I think is bigger than Valeera. At the current time, Valeera is the best mercenary in the game, and it's not even close. Basically, the whole meta revolves around Valeera, which is why this is a problem. When you think about just standard Hearthstone, a lot of people are going to be playing the best deck they possibly can because they want to win as many games as possible, and the same thing could be said about Hearthstone Mercenaries. There is a fundamental difference between Hearthstone Mercenaries and the way that standard works, and that's draw RNG. In Hearthstone Standard, if you go against the same deck 10 times, sure, the games will play out similarly, but they won't play out exactly the same. And that means when you're playing a game of Standard, no matter how many times you play it, your deck is probably never going to be in the same order, which means often the games feel different even though you're going for the same goal every single time. Where in Hearthstone Mercenaries, there is no draw RNG. The only thing that's dependent is on either A, do I get to go first in a speed tie, or which mercenaries am I going to bring out first? Which means if you play against the same comp 10 times in a row, almost all of the time the game is going to feel very similar because, well, there's no draw RNG. You're basically going through the same motions every single game. And when there's a character like Valeera that you're going to see quite often, it feels like every single game is the exact same game, and that gets extremely boring. And I'm not saying that you can't beat this comp. I'm just saying the repetition of playing against it over and over and over again without really any randomness can get really tiresome and basically just stop a player from playing the game. And as of right now, Valeera is an absolute perfect example of this. Most of the games are going to play out the exact same way, and it can be extremely frustrating because, well, you're going against the same thing over and over and over again because it's the best comp in the game.
What the definition of insanity is. Insanity is doing the exact same thing over and over again. Thing to change. That is crazy.
And the easy solution to this would just be to nerf Valeera or whatever main character there is in the game, but they didn't do that. In December, they had a patch before they went on holiday break where the only change they made to mercenaries is that they just changed the way heroic bounties give you legendary coins. And this is an extremely worrying trend because if they don't end up actually nerfing Valeera or they don't print a hard counter to her, the only way that we're going to see real meta development is if other mercenaries are on the same power level as Valeera, which is already starting power creep. Now, I think the reason why they didn't end up nerfing Valeera is because players are going to expect some kind of compensation like they do with nerfs in standard. And I completely agree with this sentiment, as you don't want your players to feel like they just wasted their time and coins for nothing, because that would feel awful as a player. But in the same sense, I'm wasting my time regardless, because if I'm not going to play the game because of a singular mercenary, that's the same thing as me getting no compensation. I'm wasting my time regardless. And sure, they can print a counter to Valeera or whatever strong mercenary there is in the game, but at that point in time, I'm going to be too far behind that I don't even want to level up mercenaries anymore. And this is where my second point comes in. This game mode has this weird sense of lack of progression as you're progressing into the game. And to actually give you an example of this, the more you max out characters in mercenaries, the less likely you are to max out other characters in mercenaries. And the reason for this is because there's no cap on excess coins for mercenaries. If you max a character, you could still get coins from them in packs, or when you receive a task and claim it, or you're doing the PvP chest. all of these things can still give you coins from mercenaries that you already maxed. And I can actually get behind this logic because you want players to actually spend money to, complete their characters faster and just, progress through the game quicker without going through the hassle and grinding that the game poses to you with its PvE system. But here is the biggest issue with this is that you don't even have a reason to spend money on packs because packs still give you excess coins. Think about how backwards that is. You could technically spend money in mercenaries and not get a single coin thing for any of the mercenaries you actually need. You could technically get coins for only max mercenaries. One of the biggest problems with this is that in mercenaries, there is currently no way for you to use these excess coins for anything else on these max characters. In standard, when you open a pack and you have all the cards in this pack, you receive something called arcane dust. And arcane dust is almost like the economy of crafting cards that you don't own. So even if you buy a pack, you could still get something from that pack that you could use to further progress your card library. But Mercenaries does not have this whatsoever. And I kind of get the reason for this is that you can actually grind for coins as much as you possibly can, where in standard, it's not the same thing. But that's where this gets even more frustrating is that you could spend countless hours and still not feel any progression whatsoever on these characters, which makes it feel even worse when new characters come out and you want to level them and play them as fast as possible is that you're going to feel this over and over and over again to the point where it's so frustrating to level up these new mercenaries. Now, I think the easiest solution to this is just make it so card packs don't give you excess coins. And if Blizzard thinks that's too generous, just make it so that a couple, if not one of the things in a card pack gives you a non-max mercenary coin slot, because at least then you feel something when you buy those packs. The last reason why I stopped playing mercenaries is because I could already tell that if I took a break from mercenaries at any point in time, I'm going to be stuck with this idea that I'm going to have to grind so much to catch back up and play these new mercenaries. And my current situation is the exact reason for this. If I took a couple months off because a character like Valeera has ruined the experience for me, and let's say there's 10 mercenaries that have been released, and that doesn't even seem like that many, it's going to feel so overwhelming to get back into Hearthstone Mercenaries that I probably just won't do it. Now, they've already thought of a partial solution to this with the thing that levels up your mercenaries while you're AFK, which is I think is a pretty great idea, but leveling up the characters is not the problem, it's the coins. And I completely understand that coins is how they make money, but my God, I can't even think how they fix this solution because taking a break from this game mode, like I imagine a lot of players have with Valeera, is going to cause a huge problem for them to come back. Now, like I said at the start of this video, I was waiting for them to do a patch in January to see what they would actually end up doing with mercenaries. And my worst fear has come true is that all they're really doing is just releasing new mercenaries and new bounties, and they're not really fixing any of the issues that were previously there. And I don't know if my issues are the same as everyone else's issues, and I don't know how much of the player base is going to come back to really try out these new mercenaries. Clearly, it's dependent on how strong they are and if they impact the metagame enough. But I'm worried with every release of mercenaries, it's just going to be a dwindling player base unless something ginormous happens. Again, I made this video because I want this game to be good. I think its potential is ginormous, and I truly think if they put the time and effort into this game mode, it could be the best game mode that Blizzard has released for Hearthstone. I hope you guys understand, and if any Blizzard developers who are working on mercenaries watch this video, please feel free to contact me. I would love to talk to you guys and help explain why I think this is a problem and go into more detail on how we can find a solution for everyone involved. Thank you for watching this. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm sorry I don't play mercenaries anymore. I'll see you guys in the next one.